Hello and welcome to the Wicked Edition, Maze. Thank you for joining us for yet another classic episode of the show. I'm your host, Dr. Kingori, na leo tuko na show nzito kama kawaida, and today I mean that in the most literal form. We can't afford to start this episode with the story of the Ugandan weightlifter who disappeared in Japan because he did not want to go back to Uganda.
Report made by Japan Times indicates that a man believed to be the Ugandan athlete who disappeared last week from his team's training camp in Japan has been spotted on a surveillance camera at a local train station. According to a police source, the Ugandan weightlifter was captured by CCTV cameras at the Nagoya station, about 200 kilometers from where he'd been staying. He's said to have purchased a ticket to Nagoya on Friday morning. The Ugandan had a mobile phone, but his passport was kept by the Ugandan team, which arrived in Japan on June the 19th.
Well, word is that he went hiding because he wanted to remain in Japan because life is too hard in Uganda. First, this is an Olympic weightlifter. Before I tell you what's on my mind, I think it's important that I show you a snippet of what it takes to be a weightlifter. Acha hata nisiende mbali, I think this clip of Mr. Odongo, aka Ugaliman, can show you what people go through in weightlifting.
Let's go. Up and down. Move. Move. Good. Move. Up. Move. Good. Move. Good. 3. Let's go 4. Power, 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 power. Your call. 5. Move. Let's go down. 6. I need 10. Correct. Give me 7. Right, you can do that. Move.
Hakuna kitu inanibamba kwa hiyo video kuliko nikiimagine vile Mr. Odongo amelemea mwanafunzi na pressure, lakini yeye ukimpata akipiga tizi.
Push, 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 push.
Wakati ni mtu mwingine anafanya ni push, push.
And down. Move. Move.
Tani yako ikifika ni
Push, 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 push.
Now, huyo ni weightlifter wa kienyeji. This is not even Mr. Mukuru Kwanjenga. Not to trivialize what training is all about. Anyone who has ever been to a gym for fitness knows the kind of suffering you can go through. I once recorded my friend YY suffering from bodyweight training.
Yes, 1. 3 more to go. Pole chini. Inuka pole. Hiyo imenuka haraka sasa.
I'd like to inform you that he's okay, but he fainted shortly after that. Now, this gentleman, Ujama hapa, he went through worse to qualify for the World Olympics, but he cannot stand the pain of being a Ugandan. Kwani, how painful is it to be a Ugandan? Now, judging from the news highlights of this week, being a Ugandan could be more painful than you can imagine. Now, wale watu wa mkona video tuone. But of course, most of Ugandan's suffering is on camera, it's on record.
Uganda has reimposed a lockdown on movement through July. Transport is banned and only essential workers are allowed into the city.
We are selling rotten produce, all the bananas, as you can see. We don't have buyers.
Lydia Nambugo walked more than 5 kilometers to withdraw money from her savings to feed her family, but the bank office was closed.
As my kids were being taken to school, they were subjected to horrendous... Officers, I've committed no offense.
Yeah, I take that back. If you ask to choose between that kind of suffering, na suffering ya gym, na weightlifting any day. But then again, there are pains that we have in common. Kama kugongwa. Take, for example, the story that at least 800 Ugandans have been injected with water, believing that it was a vaccine against COVID-19. Depending on how you interpret that, that's pain that we share. I say depending on your interpretation, because that story is good or bad news depending on how you look at it. You know, for a landlocked for a landlocked country like Uganda, having 800 people injected with water means that the country now has over 800 new water bodies. Now, jokes aside, unaweza pata wale wasi wali-administer hiyo vaccine huko UG, walisikia watu meza dawa na maji, wakaamua kuwapea maji kwanza wakingoja dawa. In other news, an oil tanker exploded in Malanga area on the Kisumu-Busia road last Saturday, and several people lost their lives in the tragic accident. Our sincere condolences to the family, Maze. May God grant them comfort. Now, this is not the first time such an incident is happening, and it breaks my heart that from the look of things, some Kenyans are still willing to risk their lives despite the sad experiences in the past. Can you imagine that barely a week after the tanker accident in Malanga, another oil tanker was involved in an accident? But the good news in this case is that no one was hurt, because the police had to camp at the site to stop Kenyans from siphoning fuel from the tanker. I know haters will say that this is how hard or how committed the government is to avoid making petrol accessible to Kenyans, which is true in another context. But in the context that we are talking about, what does that say about the Kenyans? Wasi wa mtaa najua atachemka wakisikia ati makarao walitoa wa Kenya mafutani. Now on this, we are with the police. That said, we have a great show lined up for you. Our guest for this episode is a renowned gospel musician, a music director, a fashion designer, na zaidi ya yote, she is a serious worshipper.
Zaidi ya yote, utabaki kuwa Mungu, Alpha na Omega, ubadiliki kamwe.
Alpha na Omega. Don't you feel blessed already? Well, now bado mazi. Everlyn Wanjiru is in the house.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here today.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Well, maze, we brought Everlyn leo atusaidie kuchampua conversation fulani we picked from a story carried by the Daily Nation asking whether it's time for churches to start paying worship team members. Hawa tu wa praise and worship. Na wajua injili wangwe kweli kweli. Now, this was a story done by Sylvania Ambani, and we felt that it makes for a very good topic on the show, and we'd also very much appreciate your contribution on the same. Now, point of clarification hapo lakini, I have to clarify this. Nikisema contribution, najua siku hizi hiyo jina mko na very interesting relationship nayo. Mtu akisema contribution, watu wengi akili inakimbia kwa kamera, tripod na tu lights tuwili. Hapana mazi, relax. By contribution in this case, I mean give us your feedback on #TheWickedEdition, wadau wa Facebook, page kubwa. Mnajua vile sisi ufanya. Tarisheni my points because Everlyn Wanjiru joins us on the other end of this short commercial break for that and more. See you guys in a bit. Welcome back to The Wicked Edition. I'm Dr. Kingori. Shonzito kama kawaida niliwaambia from the start. Na mnajua ni kwa nini? Sasa this time round is a different form of literal definition. Guest wetu wa leo ni mtu wa injili. Injili imekamata na injili inapigwa sana. Na there is a lot you can talk about when it comes to mambo ya gospel. But this conversation ya leo is about whether watu wakiserve kwa kanisa, they need to be paid. Like when the church has professionals, are you serving God? Ama saa ingine ni wewe uko job. And we couldn't think of a better person. One of the best people we could get for this conversation. One of our favorite gospel artists, Everlyn Wanjiru, is in the house. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
Uko fiti?
Niko tensed.
Hapana, usiwai tense.
Sababu nasikia hii topic ni very trendy saizi. Yeah, so I am like, what? Sijui ni nini na come up.
Usiwai tense. Hatutaongelea kitu hujai kutana nayo. Alafu kama wewe ni mtumishi wa Mungu, the Lord does not give you a challenge that
you cannot handle.
Thank you.
Are you a pastor?
I wish. Nilifurahi sana. Kwanza vile tu get as a worship leader. Na worship leader inamaanisha umeweza kufanya kazi katika roho.
Okay.
Si ndio?
Yes.
Like watu wakisema tuenende katika uwepo wa Bwana, you can't be a worship leader bila kwenda katika uwepo wa Bwana.
Yeah.
Maybe true. I would and I would like to pick your mind on a video ya something that happens, ile ya uwepo wa Bwana, iki happen, ita inform this conversation mahali, when it comes to how people relate na levels za injili. And I like to show you a small video. You may have seen it, but for the sake of, kama ujaiona na any of our audience members mejaiona, I'd like to pick your mind. Just watch it and tell me what you think.
Yesu Kristo wa Nazareth. Kwa damu ya Yesu Kristo wa Nazareth. Kwa damu ya Yesu Kristo wa Nazareth. Fire, 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 fire. I fire you. I fire. Choma kwa moto. Piga kila roho zote za giza. Kwa damu ya Yesu. Fire, fire. Fire in the name of Piga kwa moto. Kwa damu ya Yesu Kristo wa Nazareth. Moto, 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 moto. Moto, 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 moto. Moto, Kristo, moto, moto.
We.
In your experience dealing with the devil, because as a worship leader, something tells me meet. If you look at a clip kama hiyo, kwa context ya injili, hapo ni Holy Spirit alimwachilia ama ni shetani alikuwa kichwa ngumu?
Kama shetani alikuwa kichwa ngumu kidogo, alikuwa anataka kutoka, akaamua na mimi tupambane na wewe vile zinakam.
Yes. Si story na hizo levels of connecting with God.
Unajua sometimes ukweli ya Mungu, devil yuko, shetani yuko, and those spirits are there and they are real. And that's why you see sometimes unaona mse ameenda sijui village, ametoka huko amerogwa na wanasema ati hajarogwa, amerogwa na ni mapepo ametumiwa. It is true, these things are there. But also it I will say, unaweza fikiria ati hakuna shetani yako, na shetani ni real. And that's why the Bible says the devil comes to steal, kill and destroy. And so when he destroys, he destroys completely without leaving anything. And I make sure wewe umepagawa, hakuna mtu anataka kuassociate na wewe, hauna anything. And so this, I don't know about hapo kwa huyo mama venye alikuwa anajaribu kupigana karata, but I know one thing, the devil is there and it is real. Demons are still at work.
So that was the devil resisting arrest. Now, ukiangalia, the reason why I asked you that question is, kuna siku nilianguka out of guilt.
Ayo, ulianguka?
Out of guilt. Umeanguka watu wakiombewa kwa church?
Nimeshaanguka. Ulianguka out of guilt.
Wewe kwa nini niambie story yako kwanza alafu nikuambie.
Wewe niambie, wewe umesema ulianguka wa kwanza, mimi nimesema umekaniuliza, wewe niambie kwa nini ulianguka.
Mimi watu wanaombewa. Mpaka watu wa senior kunishinda wameenda wakianguka, so niko kwa line naona kila mtu anaenda akidrop, kila mtu anaenda akidrop. So nikibaki kama nimesimama, Mungu ataona mimi ni kichwa ngumu, unajua? I also wanted to know this experience. What happens? So vile pastor alikuja akanishika hivi, nikasema twende. So shida ni wakati nilikuwa hapa chini, I did not know what to do. I did not know when to wake up. I did not know that it's time, like you're done with the spirit. I tried to shida ndio nakwambia, the problem is I fell because nilianguka out of guilt.
Wengine wote wameanguka.
Nilianguka juu ya inaitwaje, peer pressure. Alafu nikiwa hapa chini sasa tena najiambia maze nadanganya God that nimeanguka.
Nikaanza kusikia guilty.
Nikaanza kufeel guilty. So nakaa najiuliza, hiyo tena itakuja kwa levels of spiritualism. That was a long time ago. Hiyo ni kitambo sana.
Sasa hizo ukielewa mkono utaanguka?
Kuwekelewa mikono?
Fire ikikuja?
Nisaidie tafadhali hapo kwa fire. That's why nilikuuliza. Unajua, wewe uko on a different level. I believe this where we can give the example of a different level. So, wewe umeinteract na fire.
Umeinteract na fire mingi.
What is it? In your experience. Mimi niko na yangu. Of course, nime experience God differently. What is your experience?
It's the Spirit of God that is working in you. And it's actually personal experience with God. And when, I don't know if, kwa kesi yako sasa unaona kama wewe umesema ulianguka kwa sababu umekuwa na peer pressure, watu wengine wote wameanguka. And so, kila mtu ako different. You have to be real with yourself and real with God. Hakunanga pretense kwa God, because he knows from inside out. He knows from the end to the beginning and from the beginning to the end. So there is nothing you can shock him. Ashtukangi. Ukimdanganya unaanguka ati roho yake imekuangusha, anajua. Na ukianguka kwa sababu roho yake imekuangusha chini, Roho Mtakatifu, he still knows and he works in you. And so it's a personal experience.
Thank
so
you.
Someone cannot even describe it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now I like
it's
it
the
when
thing
you
of
say,
a spirit. You can't even describe it.
I like it when you say that, because when it comes to being spiritual, ukienda, just by going inamaanisha umejipeleka. Niteremkie roho, unajua?
Roho kuteremkia.
So umesema, could you draw the line ya first, si ati roho ubagua based on what you've come to do in the church. Roho ikiona uko na kamera, hakuna haja roho akuweke kwa deni ya 100,000. Si ndio? Uanguke na kamera ya wenyewe. Alafu anze kuambia ukatae kwenda kanisa, si ndio? As in, so roho pia anaangalia.
Roho, kwa hivyo roho aendangi kwa cameras.
Roho yangu mtu ako na kamera, mtu amevaa kitu compact, kazi inafanya.
Unajua unafaa uulize pastor. Kwa sababu mimi sasa ninaimba.
Uko when worship leader. When worship leader.
Kwa hivyo nikisema fire wanaanguka wote.
But
let me tell you, there are people even on cameras. They worship on kwa camera. There are musicians while they are singing and playing, they worship while they are playing. There are camera people I've seen kneeling down and just they let the camera keep on going while they are praying, because it's when you feel this is my word. There's a season unaweza sikia pastor amesema, time unasikia pastor anasema, there's someone who needs God to come through for them for a breakthrough, and they are trusting God for ABCD. And probably that someone behind the camera is exact person that God is speaking to. They will just kneel down there. I have seen some of them. I've seen cameramen leaving what they're doing, putting the camera hapa na anapiga magoti. So, and that's why I just said it's a personal experience with God.
As in, I don't know, I don't think I'm a cynic, because I believe and I profess minimum experience, blessing ya God differently. But I don't know kama hapo ndio naweza taka kuona mtu wa kamera.
Ameanguka chini na
anatoka na tripod anaenda.
Hiyo hapo sijawahi iona hiyo ya kuanguka na tripod na kamera. Sijui kutakuwa aje hapo.
Ni natural ati unaacha kamera ikiroll uende uangukie huko. That's pretty much separation of issues.
Na hata si kuanguka, probably they'll kneel down. My God, sijui hiyo ndaiweka aje, na kweli sijaiona.
I read an article, ilikuwa imebebwa na Daily Nation, about whether the church should pay creatives na praise and worship teams. So kulikuwa na setting ya ati kitambo, in the traditional church setting, anyone who could sing alikuwa anaitwa. It did not matter kama uko na sauti ya kuimba ama bora tu uko na time. You can go sing for the Lord. Okay. The Lord does not judge. So inamaanisha tuseme kama hiyo time there had to be something about you. Tuseme kama ukwe sai okay, kitambo traditional setting anyone could sing. Sai the church is hiring professionals. So I'll be very interested, and I believe our viewers pia wanaweza penda kuwa interested kujua why you separate service na hiyo inaitwaje kazi.
Yes. And work. Yeah. I would say there's a very thin line between being a professional and serving God in church, which both of them are very good. Our God is a God of excellence. Na hapendi mediocrity. That is one thing I believe. When he created all of us, Ali to create in his own image, and he said, this is good. Hakutupatia plan B ya venye tu structure venye tunaka. Meaning wanasema ukiangalia God, ujiangalie you are looking the same. And so when it comes to work ya God, when you're giving him, give him your very best, your excellence. What is excellence? Excellence is when you go and work and know and rehearse and give your best in music. Uwezi letea God kitu half-baked.
Yes.
Kuna watu wenye wanajua kuimba. Inaitwa skill. Ako skilled, anajua kuimba, anajua kuproject, anajua kulead service. Na kuna mwenye anasema mimi nimeitwa. Akikuja ashike microphone, ndio tutaimba, but kuna difference ya mtu mwenye amesomea music na mwenye ako talented. When you come to church and you want to be paid, I am very cautious about this because I understand it's something that has been trending. And so what I'm saying is not me, I am actually responding to what is going on in our nation right now. It is good to honor. It is actually good to honor or give appreciation for what someone is doing. Just the same way when you appreciate watchman pale kwa gate, just the same way una appreciate mtu mwenye anaosha kanisani, yeah? Just the same way una appreciate doctor analipwa. Hakuna difference ya musician mwenye anaimba. If God has called you to come and serve, come and serve. Hiyo ni wewe umejiambia. Ukiona Kenya anafanya ni vizuri, then give or bless that person, not asking. For me, in my church, I'll give an example of me. In my church, I'm not paid to go and serve. I serve there.
Okay.
But when you call Everlyn Wanjiru to come and live where I serve every day, to come and serve in a different church,
yes,
an invitation, I believe when you're calling me, you had already put everything together. And it's okay to just appreciate or, you know, honor this person, because Dr. Kingori, truth be told, this person akona familia, this person akona bills za kulipa, this person akona life outside church. True or false? True or false?
True, very true. Yes.
So the way you appreciate them, it can take them a step ahead.
Okay.
This person akona mziki anafaa kurecord kwa studio. So when you call Everlyn Wanjiru, I need to go to the studio and record. And my songs out there become a blessing to you. How did I pay the studio? How did I pay my videos? How am I ensuring that my work is out there and I've marketed it out well? Because nowadays you pay for your music to rotate on social media.
Yes.
Yeah?
Okay.
So I have to pay some bills. And it is good to honor a gift. And I think it's right now it's quite sensitive even to speak about it, but it is okay to let people know these people need also to be appreciated because they have a life to live.
Thank you. I like the fact that you say that when you're in your church, you serve.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When you go to another church, kuna vile wamejipanga. So I'm thinking, the God of your church is the same God upande wa pili wa studio.
Very true. Very true.
Very true.
It's the same God. But you see, this is where I serve. This is where I am. It's not about being nourished. This is where I am fed spiritually. And this is where I get lots of rebuke. I am serving under leadership. I have a spiritual covering. This is where I've decided to submit.
Yes.
Umenelewa?
Yes.
This is where I've decided to submit. And where I submit is like when I go to my house. I will not tell my husband, unajua mimi ni Everlyn Wanjiru. But when I go to someone else's husband, they will not someone else's. No, not someone. When I go to someone else's house, yes, the way they will handle me, that home, they will handle me because I'm a guest. And they are receiving Everlyn Wanjiru in their home. But in my house, I cannot come with terms and conditions. My celebrity status inaachiwa pale kwa gate.
Wow. Thank you. Umeiweka poa sana, and I trust that you've represented the industry vizuri sana as a member of the subject of this show, yeah, as a creative in the church. I believe represent vizuri sana, yeah, and probably maybe, I don't know, this is how I think sometimes. Abda musicians wanaambiwa nyinyi msilipe tithe, si ndio?
Well, we pay tithe. Unless
but as payment unaweza ambiwa pastor wewe usilipe tithe.
Pastor kwambia
ngoma umetuanga leo iko sawa wewe you can keep your money.
No. I think you pay tithe where you serve. You don't pay tithe where you don't serve.
Okay. Sawa maze. Asante sana.
Yeah.
Asante sana kwa kukaa show yetu ya leo.
Would I say something before
Apple
backwards kidogo before we close?
Yes.
I think it's important to know even the reason why you're serving. The reason why you're serving.
Yes.
Are you serving to be paid? Are you serving because you want to serve God? So that you have to be sure of what you're doing.
Have to
so
have
for
a
me,
clear distinction.
Yeah. Are you serving to be paid? What is your purpose? What is your reason? What is your motive? Those 3 things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Asante, that's a very important point. It's a very important point. And I think this conversation has taught me one thing. Not everyone is singing to go to heaven. Like, si kila mtu anaenda church ati, oh, ni aje, praise God. Nini. It's a very important point that I've learned. Now, it's a very important thing that we do. I don't know how much sins will be forgiven for the people who sing, because there's a part they played in service to the Lord.
Yeah.
Sindio?
Okay.
Mazia, asante sana, asante
Thank
sana.
you,
When
thank
good vibes, napenda energy yako. Sana, 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 sana.
Asante.
Asante.
Thank you.
Karibu tena na tena.
Thank you.
That's it for the weekend edition. See you next week. My name is Dr. Kingori.